I think we might be live, but dude, literally, what a freaking beautiful backhand by Barbashev. That
I
has
think
to
we
put.
might be live, but
Oh,
dude,
whoa! What
literally,
the hell?
what a freaking beautiful backhand.
Sorry, people. It's a little delay. I was like, what the hell is that? Um, sorry. Here we go. Anyways, this thing should be over. What a great game this one was between Vegas and Colorado. I was kind of watching it. I was seeing more if the Padres could come back against the Dodgers because, that game got ugly real quick for the Padres. So that series is even at two piece. There will be a game five, winner take all, for the Padres versus Dodgers series. Yeah, this thing seems pretty much wrapped up. Boop. Turn off the TV for that one. If I turn on my TV and the Avalanche came back, I will throw something through this TV. I will be so pissed because there's 3 minutes left in that game and they're down by 3 goals. Anyways, that's not important. That's neither here nor there. Let's talk about today's action in the world of sports, kind of like through my eyes and my lens and stuff. New York. We got a lot to talk about. The city of New York is thriving right now. Hockey's back in full effect. And yeah, so let's just jump into it. Let's do hockey first, because that's just the way things are. Oh my gosh, I'm not even prepared. Jeez, I was thinking about just talking about the Rangers, but it's like, we got to talk about the other teams too, because I did talk about them. I don't even know who won. Okay, Flames are winning right now, 5-4. Really, Really, dude? What the hell? Dude, the Jets won 6-0, and then the Canadians won 1-0. Oh man, that's looks like the Oilers are in mid-season form. Leafs are in mid-season form already too, just like the Penguins. But the big takeaway, I already made a post-game reaction video to it because, oh my gosh, 6 goals against the Rangers. Like, something, Tristan Jarry couldn't stop a runny nose if he could. Something's off with that team. I really don't know what it is. There's parts of me, hold on, let me bring you down just a little bit. There's parts of me that think, because a lot of guys were talking in this Avalanche versus Golden Knights broadcast about how, hey, look at where Edmonton was last season in November. Hell, yeah, was it November? Yeah, it was October, November-ish. I remember walking. It wasn't the Metallica concert. Was it the Metallica concert? It might have been the Metallica. No, the Metallica concert was. Was it in September or October? That's neither here nor there. But I was walking to. Was it the night of Alabama versus? No. Did the? No, 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 no. It was. Did I go to an? It was the It was the Ravens. It was the Ravens versus Cardinals. That's what it was. That, yes, thank you. It was the Ravens versus Cardinals game. It was around that time in November when the Oilers had lost, what, 7 in a row or something, and then they fired their coach in the middle of November after fall break. And so, yeah, because the Oilers came out the gates really slow, and then everybody's talking about, hey, look at how they came back. Look at how they turned that season around. They eventually went on to win the West, went to the Stanley Cup final, could have made a run at it for the greatest comeback of all time, being down 3-1. That would have been sick. That would have cemented Connor. Not Connor Bedard. Sorry, why am I blanking? Connor McDavid. Sorry, that would have cemented Connor McDavid's legacy. Because right now, I think Connor McDavid, not Nathan McKinnon, because McKinnon has a cup, but Matthews, Kaprizov, Hughes from New Jersey. Yeah, Bedard. You could put Bedard in that same category. Johnny Gaudreau, I would have put Gaudreau in that category too, even though, he has passed. But just like this young core of the NHL, because they're talking about how this is the golden era of the NHL, where there's a lot of these guys, but it's like they don't have the rings, they don't have the deep playoff runs that Sidney Crosby has, Alex Ovechkin, Steve Stamkos, Doughty, Big Pat Maroon, just so. Yeah, but yeah, the announcers were talking about, hey, should the Penguins get rid of should the Penguins start firing people? I think if, as scary as it might sound, I don't think you fire Coach Sullivan, which, hell, let's look at how long his contract's worth, which contracts aren't worth anything because we've seen it in the NBA, we've seen it in the NHL. Mike Sullivan contract. Sullivan signed a 3-year extension with the Penguins in 2022 when he still had 2 years remaining on his contract. That extension kicks in next season. Beyond that, he has so to run through the 2026 to 2027 season. So I don't realistically, I don't think Mike Sullivan's the problem for the Penguins. I really think it's the GM, and I think it's our lack of, we hold on to players. And I was thinking about this a little bit in the postgame while I was watching the Avalanche, because the only team that I can actually realistically think of this example for the Avalanche, for the Penguins, is the Avalanche, because it's like, for hell's sakes, the two-headed monster that the Avalanche had in goalie back when they won the Cup back in 22, the dude wasn't even there the next season. Darcy Kemper was off to the Capitals, I believe it was, and now he's on the Kings. So it's like they didn't keep Darcy Kemper after winning the Cup, and then Grubauer went to... Where did Grubauer go? I think Grubauer went to the Blackhawks or something. And then we look at the Bruins, for example. They had Allmark and Swayman, like the best goalie tandem in the league, where if one goes down or one's playing terrible through the first couple of games, you have another guy that you can sit back and, we can, hey, he'll hold the ship for a while. No, they got rid of him, sent him off to the Senators. And the Penguins have this weird capability of just holding on to players way too long. Out of the original core, like the guys that were there when they won it back the first time back in, the 2008 and 2009 season, when they went back-to-back, won one, lost one against Detroit. Chris Letang, Malkin, Sid, and then those guys still being there for the 16 and 17 Cup runs. Out of all of them, I think the first to go would probably be Gino. And the reason why Gino is just because it's like, from the games that I've watched, it's not that he's slow and old, but I don't know. His impact in a game, it'd probably be Gino and then Letang and then Crosby. You know what I mean? But I think Crosby would retire before he ever left. You know what I mean? Why would the Capitals get rid of Ovi? They wouldn't. You know what I mean? Loyalty, from all the pro sports, I think loyalty is NHL, then the NFL. Just kind of it depends, and then MLB and NBA, because oh my gosh, you sneeze wrong in front of Kawhi Leonard, he'll want to trade teams, because a lot of guys run from the grind in professional sports. We've seen this, we know this, but yeah, I would say that Sid would probably retire a Penguin. Malkin's probably going to retire a Penguin. Chris Letang, I'm interested to see where he goes, because there's a part of me that thinks, yeah, of course he retires a Penguin, whatever, rides off into the sunset. But then there's other parts of me where it's a team that's more defensively led, a young team that needs that veteran presence. Penguins cut him, get rid of him, and then look, scooped up for a different team. but that's neither here nor there. I don't think any implosions or anything crazy is going to happen this year for the Penguins. I think they're just going to ride it out, kind of, and go off into the sunset. But I think yeah, if Penguins, if we're sitting in November, after 20-ish games, and Penguins don't have at least 5 wins, 6 wins, I would definitely think Sullivan's probably going to get fired. I don't know. I think they would fire assistants first, and then the head coach, and then they would start cutting players. But again, this is a huge overreaction. We've only played 1 game, and as far as we know, as Penguin fans and NHL, bystanders watching, as far as we know, New York might be the last team standing by June, and so it's like, okay, the Stanley Cup champs put 6 points on it. Okay, it could have been worse, They could have put 7. So, luckily, knock on wood, 1 goal was taken away. So, but yeah, that's how it was for the Penguins tonight. And then, as we see, let's see, I think it's actually wrapping up right now, because I've been yapping so long. Yeah, Vegas put another one on them to make it 8-4, so that's a final. And then Calgary is up 5-4 in that one. So Calgary getting an upset, Winnipeg getting an upset. 0 blanked. That's actually kind of shocking. I would have expected the Oilers to come out with a little bit more fight and a little bit more urgency. It is what it is. But so that's all the reactions from the NHL world. Best team right now on the ice, Rangers and Panthers. We know this. Best team out of the West, I'd say Vegas right now. Like I did put a star. I'm not gonna lie. I put stars next to the teams that I think. And I'll probably make a video if I have time for it, because goodness, this week has flown by. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think realistically, there's probably 5 teams that can win the Stanley Cup in the East. And the Lightning are on a fringe, because it's like, well, you get rid of your captain, how well can they perform? Plus, the Lightning we're at the end of the Lightning era. But, I mean, not saying that Jake Gensel can cover for Stamkos, not saying that Kucherov or Victor Hedman, like, you see what I mean? Like, so Lightning are kind of like that fringe, but realistically, Panthers, maybe Hurricanes, maybe Bruins, and then Rangers. So yeah, Bruins, Panthers, Lightning, Hurricane, and Rangers. Those are realistically the 5 teams in the East that I think can win the Stanley Cup. But to rank that, it'd probably go Panthers, Rangers, Hurricanes, Bruins, and then Lightning. And then on the West, Avalanche, Stars, Oilers, and Golden Knights. The fringe team is the Canucks. The other fringe team, just because of who they have. I mean, bringing in Steven Stamkos and Jonathan Marchessault, Roman Josi, the Predators. But again, we'll just have to see how the Preds do. Big expectations for them. Because, I mean, hey, you bring a guy like that on, it's like, hey, here we go. It's either cup or bust for that kind of team, that kind of squad. But we'll just see. I mean, Nashville's only been to the Stanley Cup once, and it was against the Penguins, so we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. Again, we're on day 2 of the NHL. You know what I mean? Like, this is a long season. Anyways, moving forward now to the MLB and some MLB action. We'll talk about Yanks versus Royals. I don't know how that game ended. All I know is that the Yanks were up by 1. They snuck out with a win, so they take a 2-1 series lead, which predicted that this morning. But all my other predictions sucked because Padres lost. I think I picked the Tigers this morning, so Detroit won. But I picked the Phillies. They lost. And so Detroit versus Cleveland, I don't freaking know how that game ended. All I know is that Detroit won, so they're up 2-1 in that series. They have all the freaking momentum. And then the biggest swing in Mets history so far, in the last half decade or decade plus, at least since they went to the World Series back in 2015. And I joked about it right after the Phillies lost, I was like, oh my gosh, are we going to have a Royals versus Mets World Series again for 2015? A rematch, but this time in 2024. Francisco Lindor, grand slam, busted that thing open. Mets go on to win. They clinch the series with 3 wins, winning that series 3-1 versus the Phillies. It's just freaking, like, it's cool because it's like, hey, this is freaking awesome. Because to this point, there's been a lot of hype around Francisco Lindor going to the Mets, and ever since he signed, didn't he sign back in 2021? Because 2021 wasn't 2021 like that off season of like a lot of movements. Like we have Lindor going to the Mets, the Cubbies splitting up their big three of oh my gosh, Bryant, Diaz, and Baez, not Diaz, sorry, Javi Baez, and Anthony Rizzo. Yeah, wasn't that all happened in 2021 if I'm not mistaken? But because then the one before 2021, it was back in 2019 when because Soto and Machado and Harper and Schwarber were all in the 19. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Like, to remember stuff like that, garbage off the top of my head, I'd have to be a scholar of the MLB, and I'm not. But big hit for him tonight. Not a walk-off, but freaking grand slam to put his team in the lead, clinch the series. I mean, I think right now the hottest team, I will admit, I picked the Phillies to win that series. Mets. Right now they are the hottest team. They've only lost one game in the last 2 weeks, because they had to race to even get into the playoffs. But to think, and when it's all said and done, maybe there might be a video by Bleacher Report or the MLB or something, but this team almost got eliminated by the Brewers. This team is a Pete Alonso swing away from, like, just to see how crazy the momentum is of baseball. And I'll admit, like, watching it now, because I've watched, how much baseball have I watched day in and day out since, the playoffs started? Didn't the wild card start like on the 2nd? Okay, it's the 9th right now. For 7 straight days of watching baseball, I've watched and I've seen, like, holy shit, like, momentum is a huge thing, because look at the Mets, look at the Tigers. Both teams respectively have not been in the playoffs forever, and here we are, where we might as well, be rooting for a Tigers versus Mets World Series, because that's how it looks like it's going to line up and be. Because Detroit upsets the Astros, they move on, and yes, I would say with the MLB, seeding doesn't matter. Because I think seeding, and it's kind of the same with the NHL, but the NHL is a little different, because we know the number 1 seed in the NFL, they're going to go to the conference championship, whether it's the AFC or the NFC side. Like, we know, hey, they're probably going to go, most likely. But but in baseball, dude, anybody can win it. Like, we literally just saw it today, where the Mets upset the Yankees. Not Mets upset the Yankees. Oh my gosh, having a New York Yankees versus dude, I was literally, holy shit, I was literally looking at that because I was curious. Have the Mets and the Yankees, because I don't know baseball lore. They have had they call it the Subway Classic or something, because there's the train subway that can connect, because it's New York, it's a big city. How freaking crazy would it be to have a Mets Yankees? Like, after having looked at it, which my life goes in circles weirdly like that, where it's like, of course, I haven't watched any baseball this whole year, and one thing that I'm curious, just weirdly on a random, I think it was around the 4th of July or something, I looked it up or something, about, because it's the 4th of July, we're watching baseball on the 4th of July. It's like, hey, have the Mets and the Yankees ever played in the World Series? No, it was around 9/11. Sorry, not the 4th of July. Sorry, it was around 9/11, because the commemoration when people talk about George Bush throwing the first pitch and the Yankees and the Mets, and sorry, that was Sorry, like derailed this whole thing to get to that point, but yeah, how freaking crazy would that be? But yeah, momentum is a huge freaking thing in baseball, and we're seeing it right now. Where from I like even watching my prediction just crumble because of how little to no baseball knowledge that I've had or known up until this point in the season, to just see it like happen where, yeah, dude, the Mets are moving on to the conference series. It's like, yeah, it only makes sense. But it only makes sense now, having looked at it and seeing the final picture, because of how much momentum has changed. Like the Dodgers and Padres series, like to me, it almost doesn't even matter who wins that series, because the Mets are going to beat them because of the train that's literally rolling down the station going 500 miles an hour. And then on the AL side, I mean, can Cleveland stop Detroit? Maybe. And then Detroit runs into the Yankees. Can Detroit be stopped? You see what I mean? Where like we have two underdog teams just gonna clash into each other, because it's up for grabs on the AL side, because Astros aren't in the conference series for the first time since 2016. So I mean, it's up for grabs there, because Astros either go to the conference series or they go to the World Series every other year. So now AL's up for grabs. Yankee fans are like, thank you, because they don't have to run into the Astros. They still got to take care of business against the Royals, though. And then, yeah, how crazy would it be? Tigers versus Mets World Series. Like, there's a little part of me that's kind of actually rooting for that right now, even though it's like not a Mets fan, not a Tigers fan, but I'd love to see that two teams that were playing terrible baseball in April, May, and June, but then around the 4th of July, middle of the season, it's like, hey, boys, let's turn this thing around and look at where they're at. So, yeah, Mets move on. They're going to play in the conference series. Considering how much the Dodgers beat up on the Padres and retook advantage of that series, I'm still going to roll with the Dodgers. Not the Dodgers. I'm still going to roll with the Padres for Game 5, because there's a little part of me where it's like, I've seen this before. Having predicted the Dodgers in many, many World Series, time and time again. I mean, for hell's sakes, dude, back in 2018, I predicted a rematch. Like, I've been predicting a rematch of Astros versus Dodgers since 2017, dude. I predicted Cleveland. I predicted the Cubbies going back-to-back back in 2017. Like, I've had some pretty egregious MLB predictions, man, in my time. Woo-hoo-hoo-wee. We don't even need to look at them, man. Not to even include last year's. Holy shit. I had the Rays going to the World Series against the Phillies, man. Like, stinky hot takes. But yeah, that's all I have for this little episode. What a day to be a Mets fan. What a day to be a New York fan. Big things going on in the Big Apple right now. Yeah, because Detroit and Cleveland's both 2-1. Yankees Royals is both 2. AL's both 2-1. It's the NL side that almost clinched tonight. So the Mets are the only team that moved on so far. We got Game 4s and Game 5s tomorrow. Because why would there be a rest day for the Dodgers and Padres? They're literally in the same state. Hell, isn't Dodger Stadium down to wherever San Diego, isn't that like realistically, it's probably a 4 or 5 hour drive due to traffic, but we'll just see. They take a plane. I bet they fly. I just came to that realization that they probably fly just to beat traffic. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's a random tangent. Sorry, we got a little off topic towards the end. We're sputtering, but big day for sports. Tune in tomorrow. We're going to do more predictions because we've still got more baseball coming up, still more hockey coming up. It is Thursday tomorrow, so we will do a Thursday night football preview. Isn't it? Yeah, it's 49ers versus Seahawks. I'm leaning with the 49ers, but we're just going to say I think both teams have come. I personally predicted the Seahawks to kind of have like a 7-10 kind of season. So for both teams, for the Seahawks to come slow out the gates, it's like I kind of expected that. But for the 49ers, holy hell, like, it hasn't been good. It's been tough these last couple weeks. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. We're going to end this stream. Check back. I'm going to go make some dinner because I am freaking starving, and it is 10 o'clock now that I see. Check back in a couple minutes. We're going to do a Mario Kart stream, guys, because we haven't done a gaming stream in a while. So I thank you guys for watching this podcast. Tune back in a couple minutes. I'm going to go eat real quick, and then we're going to play a little bit of Mario, and then we'll call it a night, okay?